Hi, my name is Joshua Zeiber, editor of the Video File Movie and Home Theater blog. Welcome to Film at 11, the podcast in which I introduce my young children to famous movies they've never seen before. This is the epic crossover event the world has been waiting for. Yes, for our very special 11th episode of Film at 11, I have both of my 11-year-old sons, Joseph.
Hi.
And Thomas.
Hello.
And that means, of course, we have to go full Parent Trap double feature. Yes, we have two nearly identical movies about identical twins to be reviewed by actual identical twins who can give you their distinctly qualified perspective on what utter nonsense both of these movies are. We will compare both versions of The Parent Trap. We will judge who gives the better performance, Hayley Mills, Lindsay Lohan, Hayley Mills, or Lindsay Lohan. So get ready for double the trouble and hopefully double the fun. Double trouble indeed. Not only do we have twin movie critics reviewing two different movies about twins, this is our second attempt at this. We recorded an entire episode of this podcast and then found out later that all of the footage had a technical problem that makes it completely unusable. So we are recording the entire thing
It's
again.
all his fault.
And we are going to attempt to remember what we said the first time as much as we can. So, we have just watched The Parent Trap 1961, followed by The Parent Trap 1998. Joseph and Thomas. So, to start off with, we're going to ask you, number one, did you like these movies?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, we're going to start with the first one. We're going to come right into our ratings, because I asked you to rate the first movie before you watched the second movie. Joseph, what was your first rating on our scale for this podcast of a W or an L? What was your rating for the first Parent Trap?
Mid W.
Mid W. And Thomas, what was yours?
Mid W.
About the same. Okay.
Keep
And
copying
then
me.
for the second movie, the 1998 Parent Trap, Joseph.
Oh, the 19 W.
W. And Thomas?
I gave it the same rating as the first one.
Okay. So, of these two movies, versions, I mean, what I was kind of surprised by was how similar the two movies were. I mean, I know obviously it's a remake, it's going to have the same basic plot, but often in remakes they try to change up a lot of the details and make it different. And I was a little surprised that not much of the plot was changed at all. I mean, it was very close, a very close remake of the original, from the summer camp stuff at the beginning to the camping trip at the end. Very minor details changed. But that being said, which version did you like better? Thomas, start with you.
I like the remake.
And Joseph.
Same.
Same. And I'm going to agree with you. I think this is a case where the remake just works a little better. I did enjoy the first version of The Parent Trap. It's kind of cute in a very dated way. But I think that the remake refined it a bit and made it a little better. So, what about the remake did you like better than the original?
Well, the haircuts were actually non-goofy all this time.
Yes. Poor Hayley Mills. They gave her a very unflattering haircut.
And then they made both of them wear it.
Yeah. It was a weird decision. They started with the two twins where one had good hair and one had bad hair, and then they cut the hair of the girl who had the good haircut to make her look like the other one. That was a very strange decision. But yeah, poor Hayley Mills. In the remake, they also went along. They followed that haircut plot line, but it was a lot less severe, I think.
Yeah.
Anything else? So
The special effects were better.
yes, the special effects were better, and specifically because I think that the effect of doing the twins, making the twins look like they're on camera at the same time, was done pretty well.
Yeah.
I think, do you agree with that, both of you?
Yes.
Yeah. Because as we had previously discussed, it was in both movies. It was one actress playing both twins. So Hayley Mills in 1961 and Lindsay Lohan in 1998. I think even in the original movie, the special effect of putting them together on camera worked pretty well. But what decidedly did not work very well was the lot of rear projection or blue screen effects when they were supposed to be on location in places, especially when they were visiting, or one of the twins lived in Boston, supposedly, and we live in Boston, and we recognize some of the locations that were being projected behind the actors. Clearly, they were in a studio somewhere and not actually there.
Probably in
It looks
California.
very unrealistic.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looked a
Also
little
goofy eye
unrealistic. Yeah. So what I think you two are distinctly qualified to talk about here is, as actual identical twins, how did either one of these movies, did either one of them do a good job of capturing what being a twin is like?
They were too nice to
No.
each other.
They were too nice to each other. Yeah.
They needed more fighting skills. Karate chop.
I don't know that they needed to karate chop each other, but yeah, I can tell you from experience that actual twins don't get along nearly as well as the twins in these movies did. One of the reasons we're recording this a second time is because these two were at each other's throat during the first recording. But other than that, yeah. The way that these two sisters became instantaneous fast friends in both versions of the movie, the remake at least stretched it out a little bit. They had a little bit of a rivalry when they were at summer camp together, but even then, they became real close friends really fast, and that, I think, was stretching plausibility for these two twins. Is that what you two would agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Of the two, which do you think did a better job of portraying twins, or pulling off the trick that you were supposed to think that they were twins? Did you think they both did a good job? Did you think one did better?
I don't
I think they both did a good job.
I think they didn't. I think they did a good job with the special effects. For both being on screen at the same time.
Yeah, but not just the special effect, but I mean the idea that these are supposed to be two different girls. Did you?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you find that one did it better than the other, or did you feel that they both were about the same?
I felt they both were about the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I do think that in the remake they made more of an attempt to say that one of the girls had a British accent because she lived in London and the other one didn't.
Yeah.
In the first movie they made.
They kind of talked about it, but not really.
Yeah, in the first movie they sort of did that, but then they really sounded a lot alike anyway, all along. And in the second movie they at least made somewhat more of an attempt to give them different accents for a while, until they were pretending to have each other's accents. So yeah, I think that overall that the remake did a little bit better job of that. But still, what was decidedly unrealistic was the idea that nobody could tell these two girls apart, that it was impossible. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the parents didn't know which one was which. And speaking of parents, the parents in both of these movies are awful. I mean, just awful. They're the worst. The whole idea that the parents would divorce and one would take one child and the other would take the other child, and they wouldn't let them see each other or even know about each other's existence, that they didn't, they weren't even allowed to ever speak to the other parent. That's horrible parenting. These parents are monsters, and we should not be rooting for them to get back together in the end of either movie. Yeah, so how would you...
The kids should run off and buy their own house.
Yeah.
I think the kids should just run off and find new parents.
Joseph, you had an observation as well?
Yeah, in the older Parent Trap, the original one, it was based on a what looked like German or maybe Dutch book.
Right. Yeah, I had I actually looked it up after we watched, and the movies were Both of them were based on an original book that was German. And as I discovered that what we've been calling the original version of The Parent Trap in 1961 was in fact not the first movie version of this story. There was a version in Germany made back in the 1950s that predates these, but the Disney version, I think, was just more successful and became more popular and sort of became everyone's idea of what The Parent Trap was supposed to be. And then it was so popular, in fact, that they've had several sequels after the 1961 version. There was a Parent Trap 2, 3, and 4 starring Hayley Mills, which I am not going to force you to watch. I think we've had enough Parent Trap for a while. Do you agree?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah. As we were talking about, the parents, I think, in both sets of movies, the remake made at least a token attempt to address the idea of why they would separate the kids, but it wasn't very, very plausible or believable. But in both of them, it was pretty far-fetched, and the idea that nobody could tell the kids apart was just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Identical twins aren't actually literally that identical. A parent would know. I definitely think so. You agree?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. So that was your Identical Twins movie critics perspective on 2 movies about identical twins. We hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. These poor children are desperate. They crave your likes. They need your likes.
Like and subscribe.
Please subscribe.
For a grown-up take on movies, feel free to visit videofileblog.com. And I just want to say that the other lesson that we learned, a very important lesson that we learned from watching 2 versions of The Parent Trap, which is the one thing both movies got completely right, twins are awful. Just the worst.
No, they are the best.
No.
Twins are amazing. You should definitely have twins.
Yeah, go and make yourself some twins right now. Hello, I'm Joseph, and I'm going to watch The Parent Trap with my twin brother, Thomas. Hi, I'm Thomas, and we're twins in every way.
Hey, I'm Thomas. And I'm Joseph. Who the heck are you?